And make sure you have friends of like mind.
Yeah,
That's
very, very, very
important.
important. So you
Yeah.
don't just go and involve anybody that will.
Yeah. So that person's not like, hey, he didn't pick your call.
Yeah,
She didn't pick your call.
because
What's happening?
because
Maybe
sometimes.
it's with another girl.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Relationship Talk Unfiltered podcast with your host, Prophet Eneh. I'm always happy to have you guys joining me, and I want to say officially, welcome to our 10th episode in this podcast. And I believe that the previous podcast episodes have been blessing you so much. And today, once again, we have a guest in the house. So I want you to go ahead and introduce yourself to us.
Hi, everyone. My name is Bukola Oni, and I am a student. Um, what else do you want to know about me?
What else is there to know?
Um, I'm short. I'm a student. I'm doing my graduate studies in civil engineering.
Mm.
So
So we have an engineer in
that's
the
a
house.
summary about me.
An engineer in the house. Woo! Oh, Bukola, I'm so excited to have you joining today.
Thank
You know, you're not an easy person to convince to do this. So I'm happy that you honored this invitation to come and talk to us. So let me just tell you guys on time. This woman of God is loaded, but she'll just be hiding herself up and down. But I believe that today she will be a blessing to us. She will be a blessing to us and bless every one of you out there. So I told you earlier on that we are going to be talking about an interesting topic that is long distance relationships. So the way I think I like to title it is more like making long distance relationship work.
Okay.
What it takes. So technically, I'm going to be asking you some questions because I believe you are in one, or you went through one, or you are currently in one, but I don't know. Okay, let's do it this way. I'm asking you.
Yes, ask away.
So, first of all, our audience needs to know that you are taking.
Yeah, I'm taking.
She's off the market.
I'm married.
She's married, so she has been through the other process of the relationship part of it to some extent.
Yeah.
And I think right now it's still kind of long distance to some extent too. Yeah. So for those of you out there maybe looking at this fine woman and you're imagining in your head, oh, we're coming to this. No, she's off the market, so keep off. So she's married, so and she had a long distance relationship, and also she's currently married, and the marriage is kind of a long distance relationship marriage kind of too. But we are hoping that very soon that phase will end.
Amen.
That phase will end. So yeah, I'll be asking you a couple of questions so that you help us to other people out there to know how to deal with this, because I know that there are a lot of people out there who probably are either in a long distance relationship or they are planning to get into one, or they are probably there already, but they don't know if they should continue or they should break off the relationship. So you probably want to share with us maybe because of this, what made you continue with yours and get it to the next stage, what's like the signs and all those stuff. So but let's just start with this first question. So can you just tell us a little bit about your own personal experience when it comes to long distance relationship?
Okay. Wow, that's like throwback. But my experience with long distance relationship. So if I have to quantify by percentage, I'd say maybe like 99% of my relationship has been long distance relationships. So, and it was successful. Or so far it has been successful. So I don't know if you still want me to give more information, but it's like, yeah.
So just to throw it out there, is this your first ever long distance relationship, or have you ever been in different one before?
No.
Okay. Well, you are.
This is my first ever long distance relationship.
Well, I guess you are one of those lucky people.
Anybody can be lucky.
No, why I'm saying that I feel like you are one of those people who are very lucky when it comes to this thing, because personally for me,
Mm-hmm.
I think I have been a one two. Let me put it this way. One, I've been in two different relationships my whole life. So
Okay.
um the first one wasn't a long distance relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't at first, but after some time it became a long distance relationship.
Okay.
And that one ended. The second one was a long distance relationship all through. And one thing I'm happy about it is that the fact that the relationship didn't end because it was long distance. It worked out perfectly fine.
Okay.
So that's why personally I believe that long distance long distance relationship work too. So
Yeah.
yeah. So for you it's the first and it was the last. So that's why I said you are like
Yeah.
one of those lucky people. Not a
But
lot of people are that lucky.
yeah, I think it okay, I don't know if there are other questions that covers that,
Yeah, just go ahead.
but I think it's not as easy as that as it sounds. Yeah, it was successful, but it took a lot of work. It took a lot of hard breaks, and yeah, because it's not as easy as that sounds. It's a lot of commitment for it
Yeah,
to work,
I know.
and a lot of God for it to work.
I know.
Yeah.
So like how long was yours? Like before and after?
Before marriage,
Yeah.
that so it was about 4 years before we got married.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a long 4 years.
Yeah, it
That was a
was.
that was a long
Yeah,
four
it was
years.
about 4 years, and yeah, it's still approximately 4 years or five.
Wow. That's a long
Yeah.
4 years, because I think the one that for me was long was like 2 years, and it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't easy. Like it was. So one thing I normally say is that long distance relationship is not for the faint hearted. It's not for the faint hearted. Not everybody can do it. Not
Okay.
everybody.
Yeah.
So I like to establish that, because sometimes when we hear people say that long distance relationship can work, some people think that is everybody that can make it work. It's not for everybody. That's one thing I
Mm-mm.
believe, because relationship on its own is hard enough when you are
Definitely.
close to the person.
Yeah.
Not to compare when you don't get to see the person, you're on a
Mm-hmm.
time schedule, and
Yeah.
not to add that you are not in the same country or something like that. Then there's time zone, there's a lot of things that come into it. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't think it's for the faint-hearted. So, but then, so like for you, I don't know. I guess a lot of people had things to say, maybe for those that knew, but you have also had people talk about long distance relationship on their own. So,
Yeah,
what
definitely.
do you think are like the common misconceptions that people have? I think I already said one by saying that it's not a misconception. No, yeah. You go ahead and say this misconception. I just think I said something that is real. So, what are the misconceptions you think?
That all long distance relationships won't work.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's one misconception. Um, that you always need to be with your partner or your significant other for you to actually know if they are the one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like to be really close, short distance
Yeah.
relationship, like the opposite. I think it's one misconception. And I think another misconception is maybe it takes two of you to just make the relationship work. I know people might be like, yeah, of course it takes two to tango, but the truth is it takes you knowing yourself to make the relationship work, not just two people.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, it's not for the faint hearted, right? So it takes knowing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I knew that I cannot, I don't think I can, based on my personality, I don't think I can make a short distance relationship work.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So it took like, you just have to find out what you really want.
Okay.
And eventually you can then transition to, or who you really are, then you can transition to, okay, what do we have to do to make this work?
So more like discovering yourself, what works best for
Yeah,
you as a
what works
person.
best? Because I have a strong personality.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm with someone that is having that kind of personality. It's just like pose repel, right? So you tend to have lots of disagreements. You tend to just say, oh, okay, this is bullshit, I'm calling it off, or just act based on your emotions. That's what I discovered. And yeah, I think that's basically it. Because my partner, on the other hand, when we started, I thought he loved long distance relationships. And then about, let's say about 3 years into our relationship, or 4 years, I discovered no, he didn't like long distance relationships. He wanted short distance relationships. But we've been together for about 3 years before finding that out. So it was like I had to ask again, and it was like, no, I don't like long distance relationship. So it takes like a lot of commitment. He knew who he was, but I knew who I was. Like, I don't think I was going to sustain anyone.
So do you think that the fact that he really loved you played a contributing role to the fact that he just, even though it wasn't something that he would have preferred, he decided to go on with it for that long before you got to find out? Like the fact that probably he really wanted to be with you.
Exactly. Yeah, I was about to say that. Like the fact that he decided. So like people always say, I don't know if people always say it, but love is a decision, right? You decide to love somebody and you decide whether or not to stop loving somebody, no matter how difficult it is. So he decided, yes, I was going to make this work. At some point we had issues, but by the time we settled it, he came back with the decision of, I am not going to be the one to call off this relationship. Even when I was proving like difficult and I'm like, oh, maybe I'm not cut out for a relationship. But because of his decision, that really sustained the relationship. So
you need somebody who has decided to do it with you for it to work. So
exactly.
If the person is not deciding to, because I think it's very interesting that people sometimes seems like you're trying to convince them to stay in a relationship with you when they're not confident in themselves that they really want it. I think that's one of the reasons why many relationships fail, because you need the person that you are with to decide they want to be there, and you yourself also decide to want to be there for it to work. Because normally on a level ground of normal close distance relationship, that's a point that needs to be taken note of. Not to compare when it's now a long distance relationship where you don't really get to see the person as much as you would have wanted, because there's this saying that out of sight, out of mind. So it's easy. it's easy for people to disconnect when they don't get to see somebody.
I think it depends, though. There are several factors that play into it. Like you have your love language, even though that's like man-based, but then it's still the truth of some people.
Okay.
You have love language playing a factor. You have levels of long distance relationships, because there are some long distance relationships that the commitment, it might take a lot of commitment, but you don't sacrifice as much as somebody in a different time zone. Do you understand? Like you can be in the same country, you work on the same time, you work on, when you're working, it's like, oh, maybe 8 to 5, right? You people are done with work, you're on the bus, you can talk, you can do this. I'm Nigerian, by the way. Yeah, so you're on the bus and then you can talk. But then you step out of that place and it takes you to a whole new level.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh yeah, 7 hours ahead or 8 hours ahead or behind,
some people say some people stay in the same states, or maybe just 2 hours away, and they call it long distance relationship.
That's why I said it depends on what.
Yeah, maybe it looks like a long distance, but I don't really see that as a long distance relationship, though.
No, it can be. It just depends. Like I said, like your love language determines. Like if you are the kind of person that wants quality time, physical quality time, and not just virtual or FaceTime, it means a lot to you.
So one-on-one distance can be a long distance relationship if your love language is physical touch or maybe quality time. Yeah, I get that part if that's the case. But personally, I just feel like if you can travel 1 hour 2 hours to see somebody. I don't really see it as long
In
distance per
Nigeria,
se.
plus or minus the time it takes for traffic congestion. So
Okay, yeah, but I feel like it's become, because I feel like you can always just plan out a weekend.
yeah,
Because even I think that some people who are even in the same states, for example, maybe let's say in Lagos, for example, somebody who stays in a cage and somebody that stays in mainland,
yeah,
they probably don't get to see themselves every day. Possibly, they probably maybe see just once a week or twice a week.
yeah. Once a week is a lot.
Eh?
It's a lot.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's not long distance.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So, and somebody who stays 1 hour away can always plan a weekend too, and it's not long distance too. So I just feel like, I think when I'm talking about long distance, my mind always goes to the fact that, let's say 5 hours
Above, right?
you have to travel 5 hours
Okay,
to
so we
be the
have to
person.
define it
Yeah,
like
you have
long
to.
distance relationship is a relationship where you have to travel 5 hours somewhere.
No, personally, that's how I say it, because I feel like you have to travel for a long time to, like, it's more of like when the traveling time becomes a problem,
Yeah.
because you can't be with that person, and it even become worse when it's now situation of country wise. You can't
Yeah,
even travel at all.
definitely.
Or if it's like states, as per it takes you 7 hours to go over the state, that's significant. But I don't think people who are just 1 hour away stay there
Yeah.
any long. It doesn't make sense to me.
And
So-
I wanted to talk about the fact where you said it takes the two of them to decide. Sometimes no. I
Okay.
think maybe that's a myth that I should have added to the misconceptions, because sometimes in love it's the first person that is deciding, because you both have your baggage. It depends on the person that drops the baggage first, right?
Can you
For
expand on
example, okay, maybe it's not your first relationship,
that?
or maybe you had issues with roommates, or you had issues with friendship, or maybe so many feedback that you've gotten from people based on your interpersonal communication has been like negative, like, oh God, you're so saucy, oh God, you're this. And then those are the things that contribute to low self-esteem, right? When you have that, it takes a whole lot. It's easy to damage someone's someone's self-esteem than to build it, because it takes a whole lot of years
Building takes time
to build it.
Yeah.
So because of that, it might result in the person, one partner saying, oh yeah, I know I have this feeling, but I don't think I can be in this relationship. I don't think I'm enough for you. I don't think I can sustain a relationship. I don't think relationships are for me. I think I'm bad at this. I think I'll still break up, So if the person is patient, even like you said, it's a God-based whatever, right? Relationship talk. And then if you're saying it's God engineered and you're convinced that it's God engineered, the Bible says love is patient, love is kind. So even when the other person is like going through that, I think it takes patience for you to wait, and just rather than just jumping into the conclusion of, oh, this person does not love me, or this person is not willing to be committed to this relationship.
So I think if we go with that, personally for me, I would say it's more like there's communication going on between both of you.
Yeah.
And you yourself, for example, let's say you are the person having the patience and everything, while the other person is the one uncertain about not necessarily the relationship, if they want you or not, but more like they know where they are in life, will not allow them to give their best. And the communication that goes on is that you are aware. I think where I'm coming from, where it has to be both of you deciding, is that there are some people who are in relationship,
Okay.
but then they are confused if they should be there. It's two different things. You want to be there, but you have challenges that you need to deal with as a person that is stopping you. Maybe, like you mentioned, all those challenges, personal self-esteem, you feel like you can't give your best. But then
what if you don't feel like, what if it's like, okay, because of those things, it's a two-way thing when you're experiencing something right like that, right? Because some people experience it and they know that this is what I want, but I'm not just able to achieve it because I feel something is holding me back. And then some people is just what has gone into them, and it's like, no, I can never get this, so I am not wanting it.
So, but you communicate that to the person, right?
It's not so easy.
No, if you feel that way,
Yeah,
are you
it's
talking
not
to your
so
partner about?
easy.
Are you talking to your partner about it? How you
That's what
feel?
I'm saying. Like, it's not so easy to come out to your partner. Like, I don't know, except you guys have been. It depends on the people involved, though, because sometimes you have to really have gotten to a place where it's like maybe 2 years or 1 year plus, so that you are really sure. Well, except for people that want to get married within 6 months, like you meet your partner and then in 6 months you're like, yeah, this is it. Let's go do it. But yeah, at that point is the point where you're like, yes, I trust this person enough to share my truth with the person.
Yes.
But if you don't get to that point, it's really difficult because you have the PTSD of, oh, the last time I tried to talk to somebody about this thing to just settle it, the person treated me like shit. And like, do you understand what I'm
I
trying to
think I
say?
think I get the picture of where you're coming from,
Mm-hmm.
but I just feel like for that, for okay, let me use myself for an example. For me to be patient with you
Yeah.
when you're not giving your best, I need to know what's going on. Let me explain.
Yeah, I get
I need
it.
to know what's going on as far what am I giving patience to? Is it somebody
Mm-hmm.
that I'm hoping will come around later? Or someone there is no hope with? Yes, we have to be patient when it comes to relationship, love, and everything.
Yeah.
But it's just like somebody telling you, or okay, let me say also somebody telling me, let me pray about it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're telling me let me pray about it, I need time frame, bro. I need time frame.
You need-
You can't, I'm telling you personally, you can't tell me let me pray about something and then 2 months, 3 months, you're still praying about it, 4 months. No, now.
What if you're like, okay, let me pray about it for 2 months, or let me pray about it for 6 months?
Then
Are you going to give
yeah.
them the
So
time?
you're telling me let me pray about it for 6 months. You're
Mm-hmm.
already giving me the time. So it's for me to go back and ask myself,
Are you
can I
willing to
wait
wait?
for 6 months to get that answer?
Okay.
If I'm not willing to wait that long,
Mm-hmm.
it's fine. I believe in time frame so much
Okay.
because it helps both of us not to waste our time. Because
Okay.
there are some people, what we are seeing in the world today is
Mm-hmm.
that people will tell you, let me pray about it. And
Mm-hmm.
they're not even praying. They are maybe entertaining another guy or another lady, trying to see if it will check out. So I don't
Yeah.
know. These are some of the, like, I've experienced with people when I counsel them and all those stuff. They are praying, they're telling you they're praying, but then they're talking to somebody else, trying to see if that one will work out. And eventually, when it doesn't work out or that option doesn't pay off, they now come back to you. So it's a tricky situation. So that's why if you are going through whatever you're going through as per long distance relationship that it is, that's why communication is very, very important when it comes to long
Yeah,
distance.
definitely.
You need to keep me updated on what's happening so that I will always have that confidence that okay, I know what's happening and I'm deciding to go along with that. Not the one I'm asking what's going on, or for example, what's happening here, and you are keeping me in the dark. Here's what happened when you keep people in the dark, or when you leave a gap in communication. As natural human being, we fill that gap up with thoughts, scenarios,
Definitely.
and most times, like I always say, assumption is the worst form of knowledge because you just keep assuming things which is not real,
Yeah.
and it can destroy everything. So when you leave a gap in communication, we technically human beings, we fill in the gap with thoughts which might not be true.
Yeah.
So if I have to be patient, I need to know that what am I being patient for? Like, what is making, what should I, like, what am I, how do I put it? What is that thing that is happening that I need to be patient, hoping that, okay, 2 months, maybe 3 months, maybe even if it's not going to end anytime soon, but let me be the one to decide that, oh, I want to stay here and watch this unfold. Not you making me wait when I don't even know if
Yeah, but
it will if it's to come out. So I think that's how I see it. That's what I believe. I know
yeah.
different people probably believe different things, but that's how I see it. Anyway.
Anyway.
Anyway, long distance relationship is not easy, Jerry. So like we're already going from here, like personally for you, what are like some of the top challenges that you think comes with long distance relationship for you?
I have to think about it. Commitment.
Mm-hmm. Can you unpack that?
It's not easy to stay committed. It's a two-way thing.
Mm-hmm.
We have, I call them loverholics, and then we have workaholics, you
Okay.
know? So there are some people that it's like all about career, and they will put their career first before anything.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some people that will be like, oh God, family is everything. I need my love life to be balanced and everything will fall in place. So staying committed for both of them is different. It's on a different level because some people will find it so easily to be committed to a relationship. And
Mm-hmm.
then the other person is like, oh my God, um, I have a deadline. Let me finish my deadline and then I'll talk to you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's about priority, but when it becomes every time, it's like, oh God, I need to go to the lab. Oh, I need to do this. And then the person barely creates time to even talk to the other person.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a whole lot of different levels of commitment for both of them.
So some people struggle with commitments
Yeah,
to make the relationship work technically.
exactly.
So personally, I feel like I've heard somebody say that communication or no, is it over communication kills long distance relationship?
Over communication.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I think in that case, it still depends on the person in question, I think. Because some people, okay, so everything we do, I'll just base it on loverholics and workaholics.
Mm-hmm.
A loverholic will be like, oh, what are you doing? Have you eaten? Oh, this. Drop phone. 5 minutes. Hey.
Mm-hmm.
That's over communication at some point because it's
Yeah.
like you can't even stay alone without the person.
I think they call that what's that name again? They call that thing more of like it's kind of a mental or
No, I
is
don't
it
know.
codependency or something like that?
I
Yeah,
don't,
I think it's
I don't
codependency
know
they
if
call
it's
it.
a
No,
mental stuff,
I
but
think I
I
think it's
feel like
codependency they call
there are
it.
some people like you just keep tabs on your partner. Like
Yeah.
the partners, one thing we should understand is whether or not you're in a relationship, your partner still has a life.
Mm-hmm.
So if you understand that and you still have a life,
Mm-hmm.
so it doesn't mean you're in a relationship and then everything stops, like the clock stops and it's just two of you. You still have bills to pay, you still have that fulfillment you have to get for yourself
Mm-hmm.
before you get it for both of you, maybe towards a particular mission or something.
Okay.
So if you are like keeping tabs, I think that's the over communication part because it's like, oh, you want to talk to the person every time, maybe like talk to the girl every time or talk to the sister every time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, brother, calm down. I don't talk as much. So
Yeah, I get that. I get if we go by that definition, I would say it makes sense that when you don't have boundaries as per you
yeah.
don't respect what the other person is supposed to be doing with their time, I think
Mm-hmm.
it will be a very big challenge
Yeah,
because yeah, I believe so much in communication. We have to talk. Like the
definitely.
way I normally say, I say you are supposed to talk to your partner at least 3 times a day. Let me explain why I said that. At least in the morning to know that they woke up
Mm-hmm.
because yeah, it's a new day. So even if it mustn't be, so sometimes when we say talk, some people think it's talk for 2 hours at a stretch or talk for 24 hours. No, for me, it's like that 10 minutes in the morning or 20 minutes in the morning. Just get to hear from them, know that they are alive,
Yeah.
that at least they woke up today. So when that is done, in that morning period, you can even share your plans for the day. Oh, what are you planning for
Yeah,
do today?
definitely.
Both of you talk about what you're planning to do today. You talk to them in the afternoon, maybe during their break time or take some time off just to hear how their day is going. Like, oh, okay, were you able to do this? Is there anything? Like, just know how the day is going because you say you love this person, so you should be able to know if they are facing any challenges or to see if
Yeah.
there's anything you can even do to help out, even though it's a distance relationship. Then the
Yeah.
last time is like in the night time. This is when I believe that you can now talk for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. And then you are back home in a quiet space, you yourself and your partner, you conversate, you even watch a movie online if you can, do whatever you want to do and spend more time together, unpack whatever happened during the day and all those stuff. That's what I believe. Like at least at a minimum 3 times. Yeah, it might get
Which is difficult for a long distance relationship though.
it's difficult, I know sometimes, but like I said, the first 2 times doesn't have to be a very long
No, I mean
conversation.
to do the last one,
Yeah.
the evening one where you
Yeah.
have to like unpack the whole thing. it's quite difficult because you need to fix a time and be like, yeah, definitely it's going to be afternoon for one of you.
Yeah, if it's
You know,
if it's like
it's
the
like
your situation
inter-country,
inter-country or
yeah.
whatever.
So
Yeah.
I think that's one thing. So just as over communication kills, under communication also kills.
So there has
So
to be a
it's like
balance.
there should be a
There
balance,
should be a balance.
definitely, because
Yeah.
it takes, well, if you're committed to somebody, I don't think communication should be a problem.
Even sometimes I say sometimes even if you cannot talk as per phone conversation, text is as simple as anything. You
Yeah,
can always send a text. You can always leave a voice note.
definitely.
So sometimes you just have to, maybe that time you want to go to the restroom, you can take your phone, step aside, just
Yeah,
record like a 2 minutes voice note. Hey, this is what's up. Leave it there. You have already tried to reach out. And when
yeah,
your partner gets to see that message, they will respond with a text or a voice note. It doesn't
yeah.
always have to be that
Call, yes.
call, we are on phone, we must be on the phone or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think it's also one of the challenges, I think, is also people not understanding that it's like, especially your case where it's like different country, not understanding that the time frame, the time zone is different, that when you're working, your partner might be asleep, and
Yeah.
when they are free. So for that kind of situation, even those that are close by, what I normally say is that calls can be prearranged. More like, okay, when are you free? I'll be free by 10 to 12 or whatever. I think I'll be free by that time. You guys can fix that time. I know some couple have like a time frame they talk.
Yeah,
Especially
but
when it's
some
this
people
thing.
love like being spontaneous.
Yeah,
Like,
but you have to understand your situation to know if spontaneity will work for you or not.
that's where commitment comes in, though. I think commitment comes with a lot of other perks, you know. It's like a goodie bag where you have so many things. So
in it.
commitment is the umbrella, and then there's so many things under it. So it's I don't know. That's just the only thing I can say, because I know for me, I sleep early. You know, I can doze off once it's night, and then at some point I was 7 hours ahead of my partner, and then sometimes we'll be chatting and then I doze off because I'm exhausted coming from the lab and everything. And then in the morning I'll be like, oh, I'm sorry. You know, not like morning, maybe like 12 midnight. I'll be like, hey, I'm sorry, I dozed off. I can't cheat nature. You know, and then in 1:30 seconds I'm off again.
Yeah, but
So it's
the good
it's
thing
a whole
about
lot
that
of,
is that you recognize what you did, how you
yeah.
dozed off, and
But you know,
reached
when you
out.
do it every time,
Yeah.
it gets to the person, right?
Yeah, I know when you do it every time it gets to the person, but then
Yeah.
like relationship, it takes two. It takes two.
Definitely.
So it's not for the person to understand your time. You yourself, you also have to understand your time. Okay, I sleep early. I can't really, and I've tried it over time to work with what works for him based on like,
Yeah.
and it's not working. So can we talk and find something else? Is it possible for us to find something else?
Oh.
So something just came to my mind now. What if, it can be an advice for somebody out there. So what if you sit down, maybe in that free time you have, then you record a video, just sit down and talk to the camera. Assume you're talking to the person. Do a recording. Maybe it could be 5 minutes. It could be 10 minutes. Just talk. It could be a gist. It could be something. Just talk to the camera. And when you're done, send it over to the person.
Yeah, definitely.
And when the person sees the video, somebody like me say, when I'm watching that kind of video, I'll just be smiling. So
yeah,
because
definitely.
I know one thing I love so much when it comes to relationship is I like pictures. Although I don't take much because I don't have a cameraman or camera. Most times it's just selfie. But I like pictures in the sense that I like the person I'm with to send me pictures. I like, because when my long-time relationship was like, every picture you send every day makes me feel like I've seen you that day. If it's weird, it's not like it's every day something, no, though. But like that's how I imagine it. Like you might tell me, but I just sent you a picture last week Friday. I'm like, that's what you looked like last week Friday.
Do you do the same thing?
If the person wants, yeah, I do.
What if the person doesn't want it?
If the person doesn't want it, yeah, it's fine. I don't have to.
No, what if the person did not say, oh, this is what I want?
That's communication. You tell me what you want.
No, because I feel like sometimes it's like saying, oh, I bought you a gift. I should tell you I want a gift too.
So here's what I believe. we don't read minds, right? And not just that we're not close. This is a long distance relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So there are things you want that I don't want. So there's this thing I used to do. I ask, what do I need to do?
Mm-hmm.
I developed myself asking that question because sometimes we expect the person that we love to know what we want, or we expect them to tell us what they want. But one thing I tried to do was like, oh, what can I do to make this better?
Okay.
Throwing that question out opens the door for the person to share. If it's somebody who is serious, if it's somebody who really wants things to improve, that's a window for them to tell you what they would have or what they want you to be doing for them.
Maybe the person does not want it. So I'm coming from the aspect of people have said, okay, there is no perfect person out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Make yourself the perfect person, right? Or make yourself the person you want to be with.
Mm-hmm.
So if you really want somebody to send you pictures every time, then be someone that sends pictures every time.
Yeah, I'm saying,
Because if you say, oh, I want you to send me pictures every time, it'll be like, why is it being authoritative? It
no,
depends on who you're with.
yeah.
You know?
I'm not saying send me. I'm not saying I won't. Like what I believe is, if I'm asking you for something, it's something I'm willing to do too for you.
What if the person does not say it?
I'm saying, if you tell me, I will do it. But if you don't tell me, I won't know.
But will you do it?
I will do it if I know. If I just get the glimpse. Wait, here's the thing. If I get the glimpse that you want it, I will do it. I don't even understand, because it's not just about doing it because, oh, you feel that I may like it. Yeah, there are some things you might do and you think, oh, this person might like this, and let me do it. Just the way you can go out of your way to buy gifts and stuff like that when they don't ask for it. But there are other specific things that you will not know that your partner wants, that you personally, okay, for instance, what if you're with somebody who doesn't really care about those things? So even if you do it or you don't do it, they don't care. It doesn't bother them. So like I normally say, there are some people who go ahead in their love language, for example, they go buy gifts for their partner.
Okay.
While their partner would have preferred they stayed home.
Yeah, sure.
So if they might buy gift for you and you're happy. Oh, she bought gift or she bought gift for me because that's maybe your love language or something that you care about.
Yeah.
But then you now go and buy gift for them. Why they're telling you stay home and you're not staying home. So I don't know if you get where I'm coming from.
I do.
So it's more of like, what do they want? What's that thing that they personally want? So you don't go and do what you think they want because you like it too. So most times we don't like the same thing sometimes. We don't like the same thing. So it's for me to find out those things the person wants and actually do what they want. It's more of like, you speak Yoruba, I speak Igbo. Okay. For example, if you speak Yoruba now, I won't hear what you're saying. But that's what you know. If I speak Igbo, you won't hear. But that's what I know. You get my point? So it's love language is like when you are speaking the thing you understand to me and I can't understand it. Yeah, you might be talking, you are communicating something, but I won't understand it. I might receive it, but I don't get it. So it's just like love language. When my own is gifts and yours is quality time, and I'm trying to give you gifts when I'm supposed to be giving you quality time, we will not be communicating well. Yeah. So I think that's where it comes. So it's not, I think it's more of like, once I get the glimpse that this person wants this thing, it's now my responsibility to see how I can satisfy that. And if it's not something I can satisfy, we'll talk about it. Is there an alternative? Why can't I satisfy it? It's more like, so I think that's why communication is very, very important. That's why I always say, are we talking about what we're supposed to be talking about? Or are we just eating ice cream and shawarma and walking up and down in the name of relationship? Because I believe that if people actually talk and listen and are willing, if they are also willing to work on those things, adjust, things become easier in relationship and even in long distance relationship. Because I feel like long distance, you need all those things even more. Like it's more because you're not even close by to have these things. So I think, if I take it back to where I was coming from, record videos, send it to your partner watch them, they record videos, send it back to you. You people might not have spoken to yourself the same time, but you have spoken. And one thing interesting about those things is that I can always play that video anytime. I can play it now, listen to you talk, I smile. Then maybe later on, I go play it again. Maybe when I'm missing you or something like that, I go play it again just to hear your voice, see your face. And
you can sing too.
Yeah, you can sing too. That's the thing. It's sometimes like it's easy somehow, but then it's not so easy. Like long distance relationship, it's easy as far if both of you are willing to do what needs to be done, like all
So
those
one thing
thinking.
I think one other thing is in relationships, you should. So I was speaking with a mentor one day, and then she was like, she learned this person is like a senior manager at one of the top companies in the world, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And then the person was like, she learned to, after years of trying to figure out things on her own, to bring her full self. So one thing we should learn to do is like be vulnerable. You're not trying to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if it's like something you think it's I don't know how best to phrase it, but this is something you're sure of, right? That it's not just something that will end in 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
So just bring your full self so that it makes it easy. Because if you are starting to say, oh, I want to wait until I heal, I want to be perfect, I want the white paint to be white, like not egg white, I want it to be like
White as
sky
snow.
white, snow white, it's you're going to not give your full self to the relationship.
Yeah.
And it's important we give our full selves to relation, not full self in terms of like,
I get what you're
do you
saying. I get
understand,
what you're
like
saying. Yeah,
giving other
there are things.
benefits
Yeah,
that
there are
are
things that
for
are reserved for
marriages, but
marriages. Yeah.
full self in terms of, oh, your energy, even you don't have to be paranoid about, oh, it's going to end
You
someday,
know the
so
funny
there is no need
the,
to do
the
this.
funny thing is that some people they have ended the relationship in their mind before it ends. In the sense
Yeah.
that I know some persons who they intentionally sabotage their relationship because they believe it's too good to be true.
Okay, so I don't know. I it's something I can do
Yeah, so it's because for example, I
or
think
I've done.
so you are guilty.
Yeah, because so one thing about me is, um, based on my kind of personality, I said I had a strong personality. I also have this personality of, oh, okay, it's all about my family. I'm good, career oriented, you know. So it's like a relationship is just
Extra.
a tip of, or maybe more things coming. So it's not like what I'm really particular about.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was like in my undergrad, when I was setting goals, my relationship was not first. I was like, oh, I want to get married at this age plus or minus 2. That
Mm-hmm.
was how I wrote it in the book, but I lost the book anyways. But that was how I wrote it. But I knew the specific year
Mm-hmm.
plus or minus 2, you know? So it was not like, oh, if it comes, fine. If it doesn't come, fine. So when it came, I was just like, um, okay, yeah, too good to be true, because I felt like, oh, why are you treating me like this? Like, hey, you don't have to treat me
Mm-hmm.
like a baby, and then you don't have to do this. So it caused lots of issues between us when we first started, especially when we're not in the same country. We're just
So what did
like
you do?
that.
What did you do to change that?
Good question. I prayed. But most importantly, I think I prayed not really for God to bring back the relationship. So at a point I had a break,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So okay, so I know there's this myth of a break is a breakup, and so many people still have it. Maybe you still have it, but I know so many people have it. But a break is not a breakup. Not
Okay.
all breaks are
A breakup.
breakups.
Okay. Yeah.
No. Well, in my case, it was different because we had a break, but it was not a breakup.
Okay.
Like, even with all the proposals during the breaks, eventually when I was like, okay, I'll give you feedback, my response in 2 months. And then after 2 months, the person came back and I was about to say yes. And I was just like, I'm sorry. Like, I just have a break with my guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then, because I call him my guy, like with my guy. And then I think we're going to come back together. So I had to like just, well, Christianly, come as you are. And it's like, God, I know that I have so many things and a
Mm-hmm.
strong personality. Just rebuild me
Mm-hmm.
that I can be suitable, like for your will, so that your will alone is done, you know? Because so at that point, I had to travel back to to Nigeria,
Mm-hmm.
because I was just like, okay, maybe if we see, we'll be able
Okay.
to sort things. But when we saw, and then it was just like, no, I think we really need the break, you know. And then I was just like, okay. I tried all my best possible, and she was just like, yeah, you really need the break. I think we really need the break. But then when he came back really serious. And then I was like, okay, it's gone, blah, blah, blah. And then these are my conditions, you know. But it still worked out.
Yeah.
So a break is not a breakup. I think it's something we have to correct. Sometimes you need a break to work on yourself.
So the break, is it like time framed, or is it
It
just
wasn't.
that's dangerous?
It was it was even so, like, I understand why you said some people are not communicating. So it's important for us to also know that it's not a one size fits all.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one myth. We think, oh, I know people are coming to understand that, yeah, it's not a one size fits all for
Mm-hmm.
relationships. But then they should also understand that long distance relationships is not a one size fits all, because the fact that it worked for me, or I traveled and spent my ticket money, does not mean it's going to work for every other person. It's the truth, because at some point you just be like, okay, I'll give an instance. So I watch YouTube videos, right? And then I was watching these relationship videos one of some couples. And then I got like some, I don't know, advice, you know, on, oh, do this, it's going to sustain it. And then I did it. But then I wanted it to be a surprise, because I like giving people
Mm-hmm.
surprises, right? I did it and I wanted it to be a surprise, and he didn't like it,
Okay.
because that wasn't just him. But then when I was watching the videos, like, um this will make your man this, and I was like, oh, maybe they're talking from a man perspective, right?
Mm.
Maybe that's what all men want, blah blah blah. And then I did it, and he was like, I don't like it. You know,
Yeah.
it even worsened the whole situation. It's true, because okay, this is relationship unfiltered, but that was how it was. So it's not easy. I'm not advising anybody to do long distance relationship, but if you have to do
You
it,
have to come
just
all
know
in.
that you're coming all in. It's a lot of work, if not as much as you give to your career,
Yeah.
because it's as important. It can make or mar you if you just make the wrong mistake, especially if you're not attentive to the fact that, okay, is this person actually the one for me, or is this actually what God wants? And then you're just all carried away with the gifts and the flowers.
I,
You might just make a wrong
I
mistake.
think that's where the point of conviction comes in for me. For
Yeah.
most times, like I feel like if you're not, if you don't have that conviction
Mm-hmm.
that somebody's for you, I think you're just playing in a dangerous water, because it probably might go south.
Yeah.
Because when you have conviction that this person is for you, you come all in, because like you,
Not always.
like when you are convinced within
Yeah.
yourself deep down that this person is for you, even when you are not at your best, you still try.
Mm-hmm.
You still try to make it work, even when, like I like what you said earlier, when it has to be coming out in trying to do your best, because like I said earlier, some people sabotage, and you give this example about yourself and
Yeah.
everything. But I like the fact that you also came in with that part, that you prayed about it and you allowed God to work that out for you
Yeah.
and help you through the process. Because that's the issue a lot of people have, is that some people don't know that they have this problem of self sabotaging of something, while some people know, but they don't work on it. They don't try to find a solution to it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think one of the mistakes, or one of the things that has caused this, is because of these always internet news stories of men are this, women are that. And then sometimes, even unconsciously, those things stink. Those things, they
Definitely.
come inside you and they stay there. So when you even start seeing somebody treating you so good,
Yeah.
you are you're not convinced. You're like playing that card of, are you sure he's not just trying to treat me well, so that by the time I now fall for him or get involved with him and all
You will
those stuff, he
leave.
will now leave, or he will now change and now bring out his true
Serve
color.
you
But
breakfast.
but the thing there is that all guys are not the same. All women are not the same. There are some people who are still working on themselves to be better, working on
Mm-hmm.
themselves to treat women better, to treat men better, and all those stuff. So,
Yeah.
I what I normally say is enjoy the goodness you see in a relationship,
Mm-hmm.
even if it will turn bad later. Don't think about it. Even if it will turn good, it will remain good. Don't think about it. Enjoy the present now, so that you don't be the person that will destroy something that has the potential to be the best thing you experience in your life,
Yeah.
and then wonder what would have happened if you had not acted that way. I think that's basically how I normally say this thing. So yeah, this is a lot. The challenges in long distance relationship is
Yeah,
not
it's
easy.
a lot.
It's a
And
lot.
I think they should also know that no matter the heartbreaks, like there's still someone out there
Yeah,
that is as single to as stupid. I'll be single to stupid.
singularly single.
That is I'm serious. Like there's still someone out there that just wants you as much as you
As
want
you,
them.
yeah,
So you should not be afraid that you're going to have late marriage. No pressure.
no pressure.
Enjoy your singlehood. Maximize your singlehood.
Another thing I think
Yeah.
I would like to say is that if you're somebody that has trust issue, avoid long distance relationship by all means.
No, I think I won't say that. I would rather say if you are someone that has trust issues, work on your trust issues. Because no
What?
matter what, whether long distance or short distance,
Yeah,
you would have the trust
yeah,
issues and
but
it's going to damage it.
yeah, and I mean like at least if you have the opportunity to work on
Mm-hmm.
it entirely. But if you
Yeah.
know you have it and you think you can manage it with closed ones, that's your business.
With the jackpot rate, in quotes, I don't think long distance relationship at some point can be avoided. Or
Yeah,
the rate at which people are leaving the country.
yeah,
Well, but for some countries, they can be able to avoid it. But if you see gold, I don't think long distance relationship should stop you from going for the gold or platinum, right?
yeah. It
So
shouldn't.
don't avoid it. Okay.
Don't avoid what?
If you're convinced,
No, 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 no. I'm not talking about like I mean like trust per se.
yeah.
If the
If you
person,
are convinced that it's the person, tell him you're coming, work on your
no,
trust issues, or tell her you're coming,
no,
and then
avoid it,
work
please.
on your trust issues, and
I've,
then you'll be good.
work on your trust issue first before you go with that.
Yeah,
That's what
tell
I
him you're
think.
coming.
Tell
So
the
they should
person
wait.
they should be doing, they should be living their life, but work on your trust, because I know trust generally. I talked on trust in, I think it's the fourth episode or the fifth episode. I talked on trust because normal relationship is very, very important. And
Yeah.
when it now becomes long distance, it's even more serious because this time around you don't get to see the person as regular as you would have wanted. And there are some people now, when you go out with a friend on a normal day, they will say, "Who is that guy? Who is that?" I'm not. Is it because I'm not there? Because there are some people, they believe that when they are close to you, even with their trust issue, they can control what you do to some extent and all those stuff. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Okay.
But then when they don't even have that chance to
Mm-hmm.
even um control those things, they are always on the high alert. What are you doing? So please, if you have trust issues, avoid
Work
relationship
on it.
generally and work on
Yeah.
it. Work on it, and because you can't do long distance relationship or even relationship with trust
Mm-hmm.
issue. Yeah. So I just believe that people will experience a lot more stress if
Yeah.
they do it with that trust issue and the rest.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think we just covered one of the questions without knowing that trust issue part of it.
Yeah,
So
sure.
okay, I have another question here. So when it comes to how do you make most of the time, like say for example you visit,
What?
you said there was a time you said you visited, right?
Actually, it was not like a planned visit just for that.
Okay,
It
yeah,
was
but
like a visit that was coincidental with, okay, the break.
okay, so generally, how do you think people can make the best most of their time when they get to see?
When they get to see,
Like, yeah, let's just say a visit. How can they make? Because sometimes people stay long distance when they now finally come close, maybe for a week or something. They don't even know what to do. Like, you
you
see,
eat.
say you eat.
Yeah. Like, you do things that make you both happy, things that will be meaningful to you,
Mhm.
things that you would appreciate, not that things that it's just one person that wants to do it. So it's like a coming together of two of you, and then you're like, okay, what would you even like to do? What do you want? Okay, where should we go to? Oh, I'm leaving tomorrow. Should we go here today? It can just be a walk. it just depends on both of you. What do you actually want? Like, do you want to go to the cinema? Do you want to go eat? Do you want to celebrate something? Do you want to exchange gifts?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to pray together? Because I know there's a question that talks about intimacy and everything. And one thing I told my partner was that um something that makes me intimate to you is when we pray together.
Mm-hmm.
So every like 12 a.m., maybe his time or my time, we try to pray, you know. And then I feel like I'm more intimate because it's like God engineered and it's
Mm-hmm.
like you're just solemnizing the whole thing even without knowing. But I feel
Yeah.
like it brought me closer to him because it helped me shed so many things. For example, if I feel like, oh, I don't think I'm good enough for this guy, it's gradually helped me to work on all those things
Mm-hmm.
when we pray together, when we sing together, and it's like, oh yeah, I think I'm beginning
Sing
to
for us.
no, it's like yeah, I think I'm beginning to enjoy this. It's I think I'm beginning to be more committed because I'm beginning to be more convinced about this whole thing. So I think it just depends on what you.
Yeah, I think very important. It's very, very important to pray. It's very important. Like we during my time we did Bible studies too. We shared the word
Aw.
of God. Yeah, we prayed, we did Bible studies, we talked about the word of God because
Yeah,
it's also help you bond
definitely.
because you
Yeah,
cannot you cannot do your relationship just both of you somehow.
definitely.
There has to be that God factor if you're a Christian. If you allow yourself to read your Bible together, you get to learn the word of God. You get to learn the truth of God, word of God together.
Yeah.
You get to learn how you should operate as a couple. It
And you
makes it
get to
easier.
uplift each
Each
other because
other.
sometimes, for example, okay, he's working or you're studying and then you heard something, or you maybe both of you have been praying towards a particular thing. And then you went to church today and you were like, oh, don't stop praying or be strong and courageous. And then you shared with each other. It's like, yeah, I'm more encouraged to keep trusting God. I'm more encouraged to keep working. I'm more encouraged not to give up on what I'm doing
Mm-hmm.
because I should not feel less of myself. I'm enough. I deserve to be here. Something like that. It helps you to just stay motivated, not like
Mm-hmm.
aspire to perspire, but then it's like you are more encouraged when you share like a summary of what you learned from
Yeah.
church. Or it doesn't have to be what you have to do, but
Yeah,
I
no,
feel
it's
like
not
yeah.
like it's a ground rule, but I will encourage it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a Christian out there and you get the opportunity to read the Bible together, study the word of,
Yeah.
I think it's part of a bonding process for you
Mm-hmm.
because it allows you not just to spend time with each other, both of you get to spend time with God. The Bible
Yeah.
said threefold cord which cannot easily be broken.
Broken.
So
Yeah.
that means you have that means you have allowed Christ. That means you have allowed Christ to be a part of this union and help both
Yeah.
of you to. And the great thing about it is that when you pray together, when you commune together, you start hearing for each other. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like you said, praying for things together. You're expecting something, and it's easier for you people. You people have something more bonding you together than just what of you
And
have
just
for
I
each
love
other.
you and I love you.
Not just the I love you.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's like a misconception. I think I'm beginning to remember misconceptions. Is like the fact that you're in a long distance relationship does not mean better guys won't come.
Ah,
Okay,
they
that's
will
another
come.
misconception
They
because
will
that's when
come.
they will even come and then you'll be like, oh my God, where have you been all my life?
The
But
the funny thing about it
you're
is
good.
that it's even more tempting that way
Yeah.
because you get to see the person. Long distance relationship. Remember that there is a spirit of endurance needed
Yeah.
to be able to endure that
All the fruits
distance
of the spirit.
and all those stuff. But then imagine that somebody who is now close by comes and is now pursuing you, or you now see
Yeah.
somebody, you start feeling like, well, this person is close. Why not just like give this person a chance? And since this
Yeah.
person is already
Or
here,
maybe it's
whatever,
not the person. Then you start second guessing the relationship and you
exactly.
be like, oh, maybe it's not the person. Maybe it was this person. Maybe God would have given him a chance for us to go together.
That's why I
You
say
know?
that's why I say conviction is very, very important.
Yeah, it is.
Because I know a friend of mine that told me that they dated for like I don't know, I think 6 years or thereabouts or 5 years. That they're married now with kids and everything. So, but she was telling me that it's the conviction that she got from God that this is the guy for
Mm-hmm.
her. That even when they had issues, like I think they broke up for a while, and I think people came to her and she was almost trying to explore. She remembered the guy was just laughing when, like, she told me that the guy was just laughing. The guy wasn't even like
Yeah.
perturbed about the whole thing of her leaving or whatever, because him himself, he got his own conviction that she's the one for him.
Yeah.
So even when she was trying to do all those stuff, she was like, he wasn't even bothered.
Yeah.
And after a while, she came back to her senses and was like, what am I even doing? Now they are together. So I think
Yeah.
conviction plays a deep role to be able to help you stay in a relationship generally, but
Mm-hmm.
long distance relationship. Because
Yeah.
what people most times don't always consider is that your partner will never be the best.
Mm-hmm.
As far you will get to meet better people, more fine, more money wise,
Mm-hmm.
more intellectually sound. Like it's possible that you will even see somebody that is better than your partner all around. But here's the thing, here's the thing. That they are better than your partner all around doesn't mean that they will be better than your partner all around for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
Your partner might not look like the best right now,
For money.
but but in time, in the future,
Mm-hmm.
you probably start seeing the reason why they are the one for you. You start seeing that, oh, okay, this is why God asked me to stay. Because that, I think that's why most people end relationship when they shouldn't.
Mm.
Because they are looking at the now and they're not seeing the future. So they feel like, oh, now is crooked, is this and that. Maybe he doesn't have a car. Doesn't they will now go and follow the person that has a car. Then a few years into the relationship, the guy loses his job or something happens, or something just happens
But
that it
I
doesn't
think,
become the best or whatever. But
yeah.
I'm not saying that it's the case for everybody. But what I'm trying to say is that
Mm-hmm.
they don't look like it, or what you have
Yeah.
imagined it to be doesn't mean that they will not get there. So you get to still meet people who might look better, but then you know that you are convinced, you know where you are going to. It's just like when you see like Pastor Kingsley Okonkwo and all those people,
Mm-hmm.
the way they were looking when they were all starting, they were not looking like the
Yeah,
all
I
this
think
thing.
it's one thing we have as Christians, right? Or as people that are God fearing, we have to list out. So there was a time I listed out all the qualities I wanted in a man,
Mm-hmm.
in my husband, you know, and then I was like, okay, okay, okay. Let's talk about the physical and then let's talk about, okay, the ones that matter and the ones where it's like, a no negotiation. I'm not compromising
Mm-hmm.
on this one. And the thing is, what long distance relationship has taught me is to appreciate my partner. I know sometimes it's like, oh, you tend to. So, one thing about long distance relationship is like, you might want to compare and
Mm-hmm.
be like, oh, you see somebody and then the person helped you solve your class project and you're like, "Ah,
Mm-hmm.
my guy, is he doing this? Okay, on the scale of 1 to 10, how intellectual is he? How rich is he? You tend to compare,
Compare.
and then it steals the happiness
Yeah.
because
Comparison
at
is a
that
thing of joy.
time you start, if he calls at that time, you would like just blot out whatever comes out of your mouth. It's like, I thought you were supposed to know this, and start
Yeah.
giving him attitude or giving the other person, like the
Mm-hmm.
girl,
Yeah.
attitude, and then you fight.
Mm-hmm.
And even listening to third parties. So, one thing you should learn to do is like streamlining who you listen to. You can hear what they say, but you might not pay attention to it. For example, if somebody is saying something like, oh, long distance relationships do not last, I won't advise anybody to go into it because I have a sister. you know, it's like, because I have a sister,
Who did
like,
it and he know?
it didn't work. They broke up.
Yeah.
They are both pastors, right? They broke up. Like, it was really disheartening. And then the person is just giving you negative vibes. Before you know, if you really listen to that thing, it will break you. Because I'm saying, like, from first hand experience, it's something I've experienced. Like, so before we got married, there was this thing, like, when I talk to this person and then the person starts saying all those things, I'm just like, but it doesn't work like that. Like, I start defending maybe
Mm.
something related to that, And then eventually when the person leaves, I start thinking about what the
Yeah,
person has
you think
said. And
about it.
then immediately, I'm not exaggerating, like within one day, I always have issues with my partner. I'm not exaggerating. I had to like come to my senses and I was like, wait, what exactly is going wrong? You know? Then I had to start being conscious of that and just started paying less attention, if possible, no attention to whatever the other person says, so that it doesn't affect you, because there is no how.
Yeah,
There's no
I had
how.
a first time experience with that kind of stuff too,
Mhm.
because before I left Nigeria,
Mhm.
I started the whole process. You get that kind
Yeah.
of stuff, and you get to start hearing people say when he travel out, he will meet another person out there.
Yeah.
He will get married for green card. He will do this.
Yeah.
He will do that. He
True.
will forget you and all those stuff. So when you start hearing that kind of thing from people, even if you don't want to think about it, sometimes when you now go to your quiet time and you're just
Yeah.
all those things start ringing bells on your head.
True. You didn't pick my
In your
call.
head, you start. So
She didn't pick my
I
call.
think that's something people need to be very careful about. Like
Yeah.
if you want to go into a long distance relationship, even if it is not country wise, if it's
Mhm.
within, you have to know the kind of friends you surround yourself with. I think I wanted to say this earlier. The kind of friends you surround yourself with
Yeah.
can either make your long distance relationship work or it breaks it.
Yeah.
I You can always take advantage of friendship when it comes to long distance relationship. Like I normally
Mhm.
say, long distance relationship doesn't have to just be between both of you. It can be
Mhm.
between both of you and some friends. What do I mean by this? Because you guys cannot see yourself. Both of you can take advantage of your friends that are close to each other.
Yeah.
So you can always call the friend of your friend and tell him, oh, can you buy this gift and surprise my
Yeah,
guy with it?
definitely.
Can you do this? So it's more of like, yeah, you have these one, two, three friends who knows about both of you, who encourages both of you, who knows, like, not the ones that are trying to come and break away and telling you that you
Yeah.
will leave. You know, you
Mhm.
need those friends who know you and know the kind of relationship both of you have, and then you can use them to surprise your partner, like birthdays, all
Yeah,
those stuff.
definitely.
They can plan it for you,
But there
send
are
them all those
also
stuff.
other ways though. There are also other ways that you don't need to involve friends
No, I'm just saying
to
like you
surprise
can.
your
I
partners
know you can
now.
you can do all those ones. I'm just saying sometimes you can take advantage of those friends that are close
Friends,
by
yeah.
to help you.
And make sure you have friends of like minds.
Yeah,
That's
very, very, very
important.
important. So you
Yeah.
don't just go and involve anybody that will.
Yeah. So that the person's not like, hey, you didn't pick your call.
Yeah,
She didn't pick your call. What's
because
happening?
yeah, because
Maybe
sometimes
it's with another girl.
yeah,
But
it's
yeah.
very important that like I normally tell people, see, in as much as you want to believe it, your friendship will determine if you have a good relationship or not.
Mm-hmm.
In as much as you are doing this thing with somebody else, if you keep
Yeah.
people who are not good friends, they will influence you. You know, the one thing about influence is that influence is like a tree. Let me just put it that way. It grows, but you don't see it grow. It's just like human being. We grow every day, but you don't see us grow. It's just we just do it. I don't know how we do it. So that's how influence is.
Maybe a root.
Maybe.
Yeah, because a root, like you just keep going down, down, down,
But you
but
don't
it's
see
the
it.
one
It's
that
that
holds the
holds the tree. So
tree.
so
Yeah.
influence, when people influence you, you will not see it happening. But
Yeah.
over time you start thinking like them. Over time you start seeing things from their point of view,
Mm-hmm.
even when you're trying as much as possible to challenge it. But then there are some things there are still deposits being made. So it's very, very
Mm-hmm.
important that you have people that support your relationship
Yeah.
and will call you out when you are wrong.
Yeah. True.
It's not just people that will tell you, leave him, he's selfish, he's this one, that one. No, people that will tell you, no, you did wrong by not doing this. I think I would prefer that kind of friend that will tell me the truth than support me so that we can feel good about ourselves and all those stuff. No.
Yeah.
So it's very important that you have those kind of friends when you
Mm-hmm.
want to have a long distance relationship. Then another thing I think about long distance relationship for me is that both of you have known how much or how long you have been together, and
Mm-hmm.
I believe that both of you have been communicating over time. I think you should come to that point in your long distance relationship or in your relationship in general where you know your partner so much that you know what they are capable of doing to some
Mm-hmm.
extent, and where both of you have an agreement. An agreement, I mean, how have both of you decided to run your relationship?
Yeah.
On what principle, on what standards, on what values, so that you will know how to filter advice.
Definitely.
Because people will talk, even when you
Definitely.
seek their counsel or not, they must talk. And
Yeah.
you mentioned something about you listening to YouTube video and taking something and applying it. I wanted to say something about that earlier. I always tell people on my platform that I'm not talking to one person alone. I'm talking to a good number of people out there. Like when I post, I'm not just sending the post to somebody. As per everything shouldn't apply to you.
Mm-hmm.
Everything I talk about on my platform shouldn't apply to you. If it's good for you, take it and run with it.
Yeah.
But know that if you don't agree with something, that it doesn't make you wrong, because there might be somebody else there that it
That it
applies
works
to,
for,
that it
yeah.
works for, that it makes sense to.
Mm-hmm.
So don't assume that because I said this thing, no, it's not true. No. As long as I'm not lying or telling you something that is bluntly toxic or whatever, think about it logically. Does it make any sense? If it makes sense, it might not work for you, but then it might work for somebody else out there who is in that situation, not necessarily you. So here's how I put it now. If you get an advice, if you get a counsel online, don't just run and apply it into your relationship.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, examine your relationship to know if that thing will work.
You're not
And
supposed to.
and in most times, talk about it with your partner first, depending on kind of advice that it is.
Yeah.
Talk about it to see if it's something that both of you would like to explore. Because here's the mistake that people make is that they see couples who have spent 15 years together, 20 years, and they'll tell you, we do this in our marriage. And you yourself that it's just 2 years or barely a year in your relationship, want to go and do that same thing. Not knowing that those people that are telling you that thing, it took them like 10 years to get to that
there.
point.
Yeah.
So you should be able to, this advice is good. Okay, let me table it in front of my partner. That's the whole point of communication.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, look at this thing. They said you should try and talk to your partner 3 times a day. For example, do you think this thing is something we can do? Does it make sense? Do you think your schedule will allow us to do this?
Mm-hmm.
If it's something that your schedule will allow us to do, okay, let's try it out. And you try it out for 1 week, and both of you feel like, I think it's too much. We might need to drop it down. You come back and have that conversation again, and both of you say, okay, let's try it 2 times. You get my point? So it's more of like both of you talk about it, examining what works for us. Okay, this is not working fine. Can we twist this a little bit to see how it fits into our own personal life? Because as human beings, we are all different. You are different, I'm different.
Yeah.
For example, if you have a relationship with your husband, right? And both of you are having something amazing. If you, for example, if you are not with your husband and you are with me, the kind of relationship we will have will probably be different with the kind of relationship you have with your husband right now. Because your husband is not me. Mm-hmm. You are still you. You are still the denominator, but I'm different. So I might operate from a different dynamic from how I approach my own type of relationship. So that's why some things that he's okay with, I might not be okay with. And you have to find a way that we can be okay with it.
Yeah.
Get my point? So I think that's one thing people don't understand, because we are individuals, we are different. So going online, taking advice, then throw it into your relationship like that, it can scatter everything. It can make things work. It can wreck the relationship. So even though it's a long distance relationship, whatever, when you hear even this advice you are hearing right now that we are talking about right now, let me put it out there. You are hearing us give, we're not saying that everything we are saying here will work for everybody, but then look at it very well. See the one that will work for you. Pick that one. Go back to your relationship. Ask your partner, can we record videos and send it to me? Do you think it's something you can do? If they're camera shy and they're not somebody that will want to record videos, you ask them, what if we do voice notes instead? What if we do this? How can we just talk about it? I'm not saying that you must do it. Prophet said, do it this way. Now let me go and do it that way. It will break your relationship. But then talk to your partner. That's why I believe so much in communication. There's something you said. You said that, I think you said something about you don't need to be close to somebody physically to get to know them very well.
To be intimate?
I don't know if it's intimate. Well, you said it earlier. I don't know how you said it, but what my point with that is that sometimes people think it's about how much both of you see yourself.
Yeah.
And how much you go out every day and have fun. That's what makes you both of you intimate or bring you. I think the first intimacy or the first point of intimacy in a relationship is how both of you talk to each other. We can talk so much and we don't get to see ourselves, and we get to know a lot about ourselves that we know what works for us without even getting to see ourselves.
Yeah.
The seeing part of it is just a different vibe. Yeah, we all need it, but then it's a different vibe on its own. So if we can come to that point where we can talk, have conversation, deep conversation, not just shawarma and ice cream and front of car seats and all those stuff. But talk to each other. Because when I say talk to each other, I just feel like a lot of people don't talk. People like, they're in a relationship. They talk to themselves every day, but they don't really talk. Because they are not always communicating from that part of, what do you think about this? Then you tell me what you think, I tell you what I think. Then we'll find a middle ground to satisfy that need or whatever. It's more of like people just dish out information and leave the other person. Another person will now fill up the gap and all those kind of stuff. I just feel like if people talked more, negotiated, it's like a negotiation somehow.
Yeah.
What was, because you both of you are supposed to be looking out for the interests
Of the
other person. It's like service. Relationships, marriage, service. We're supposed to be serving each other. We're supposed to be looking at. So even the way the Bible puts it, you're supposed to think about your partner's well-being more than yours. Here's the balance to it: is that when you're thinking about your partner's well-being more than yours, your partner is also thinking about yours more than his. And when both of you are doing that for each other, nobody is lacking anything. Nobody is being cheated out. Nobody is being abused or whatever. But today we see people who go into relationship and they're trying to be selfish.
Yeah.
They're trying to get their way. And when you are just trying to get your way, you are robbing the other person. The other person is trying to get their own way. They are robbing you. And nobody's actually working together. So I just feel like when it comes to long distance relationship, people need to learn how, because they need the communication more than anybody.
Yeah, they do.
Because they don't get to see themselves to relax and talk and all those stuff. They need that communication more than anybody, because they are just feeding off what they hear from each other. Yeah. So anyway, so at what point, as we are rounding up, we are trying to draw the curtain here. I don't know how long we've been talking, but like we're trying to draw the curtain.
It's been over 1 hour.
Like we're drawing the curtain here. So at what point do you think somebody in a long distance relationship need to call it off? Do you have an idea?
When it's not working.
Like, what's your definition of not working?
So so the thing is, there are different things, right? So you've listed out what you want, not just the physical attributes, but the spiritual, the emotional, right? And you know that you value peace over every other thing. But then this person constantly nags. This person is not giving you a sign that they're willing to change or they're willing to be committed. Then you know it's supposed to be like, you don't want to be with someone that takes you for granted, right? Because I was seeing a movie or maybe a clip, and the guy constantly beats the girl. The guy will bring another girl in and be like, oh, give me time, and tell the real fiance that give me time, I'll be with you shortly. And then he'll be with another girl inside.
Wow.
And it's like the girl stayed for 5 years, did so many things. It's like, you don't want to be in that kind of situation. You don't want to sell yourself short. You don't want to feel like you are an option in the relationship. Not like the person chooses you. Like, love is a decision. So if you are not seeing that the person is choosing you, then it's time to walk away. So you should be bold to walk away, not thinking, no, I'm not going to find someone else. Oh, I'm so lucky to find him. There is nobody out there for me. If I leave him, I'm going to marry late. Or I won't be No, I don't think we should get to that point. So it's just, if it's not working, if it's not godly, if it's not this, just walk out. If it's against all the principles, you know that you're not supposed to compromise as a Christian, and it's already going that way, I think you should take a bow and be like, yeah, I've learned a lot from you. Every girl would kill to have you, so that, and then be like, I'm sorry, this is no longer working out, or I'm sorry, we need to take a break. I'm sorry, you're no longer helping me, or I'm sorry, I don't have anything to help you. I think we need to take a break and work on X, Y, Z. And I think it's important to point out what they need to work on or what you need to work on, because you don't want another sister or another brother to take the bomb, right? So that, that's what I think. Because I've not really walked away from so many things, but so many relationships.
Yeah.
But I just feel like, just be sure you came in. Like, it's, especially when at the point where you're convinced be sure you came in 100%,
I like that.
because like 100, there's no 50
There's no
50 to make.
50-50.
It's not a
No,
contract,
nah, nah.
so you are coming in like that. And also, I think it's important for me to say that there should be like a timely in quote, that you guys fix the time, a timely appraisal of your relationship, your long distance relationship, your long distance marriage. Like, okay, what's working? Where do you think we stand? Where do you think we don't stand? What do you think we need to do better? Do we need to communicate better? Do we need to spend time together better? Okay, let's use technology. Like, there was one question about
Yeah.
technology. Okay, let's use technology. Let's have an online date. So I don't know if
Yeah.
it's something that exists, but I felt like my partner and I, we came up with a virtual date. So instead of a real date, we just be like, oh, we're going to have a virtual date on this day. We'll set the calendar. This is the day we are going for a virtual date. We stream it. So one person shares the screen, and then we're watching the same movie. And then you carry your popcorn or whatever you want to eat at that time, just eat, and then we're
Oh,
communicating. And it's like, oh, okay, what did you
oh.
learn from this? I think it's so there's no one size fits all. You just have to be
Yeah.
innovative about everything that makes it work. Like,
Yeah.
be innovative about the call, be innovative about, oh, do you want to download an app that you guys can sing together karaoke, Just do anything that makes it work. The fact that A did not do it, but then they're on social media making millions of dollars, and then you want to copy everything that works for them. All that glitters is not gold, or
Yeah. That's
So I
that's very
think
true.
that
Yeah. So for
appraisal is really
yeah, it's very
important.
important. Like
Yeah.
I usually say have like once a week or once in 2 weeks.
No, I think that's a lot. It's too frequent, though.
Yeah, I like it being frequent. That's what I'm trying to say.
Just do what works for you.
I know. Like
Yeah.
personally for me, I feel like once a week or once in 2 weeks, sit down and talk about not any other thing but the relationship itself.
Yeah.
Don't talk about cars, work, children. Talk about the relationship
Yeah.
or the marriage. So you're sitting down on Thursday night, both of you, on your dining, or if you're married, or if it's long distance relationship, you are having that call for that particular day is to talk about where you guys are coming from, where you are right now, and where you are going to. Because a lot of people are in relationship, but they don't talk about the relationship, and a lot of things get ignored,
Yeah.
which results to relationship ending when it's not supposed to. There's so many relationships that has ended that are not supposed to end. That's the thing. If they had done what they needed to do. So if you are checking in on your partner, checking on how they are doing, how are they perceiving the relationship? Are you meeting their need? Are they meeting yours? Like some of these discussions to help you know where you guys stand in each other's life and how, if you guys need to adjust anything. That's a very, very nice thing. I think a lot of couples, even long and close ones, should adopt to ensure that they know the mental state of their partner at all times, to know where they are, so that they don't get shocked or confused when their partner starts reacting to some things and other stuff. And yeah, I like the virtual date stuff too. And you can play games online. You can
Yeah, we
play
did.
a lot of things online. It's you are not close, but like I said, it's not about the physical closeness. There's a special part to that. I acknowledge that. But
Yeah.
then what can both of you do at a distance that can help you stay connected to each other? That's what we mentioned, the prayer part of it. Play
Yeah.
games, sing, send pictures, send videos,
Communicate.
communicate, talk to each other, use your good friends that are around you to
Yeah.
make things fun. Also, like just explore. It's explore in the right direction. Explore, but explore in the right direction to ensure that both
Yeah.
of you are utilizing everything. The good thing about it is that those days it used to be letters and stuff, but now you have your phone. You can always get in contact. You can play games on your phone together. You
Yeah.
can do so many fun things on your phone
It's
with each other.
important.
So you take advantage of technology. If you don't have data, you have to buy data. Data is very important for people
Or use Wi-Fi.
in Nigeria. So it's very, very, you cannot be doing long distance relationship without having data
Yeah,
and
it's time,
credit.
like
So you should
money
take your time.
consuming.
Yeah, it's very, very important. And
Yeah.
and it's also very important that people start to understand that long distance relationship, I feel, requires a double effort more than when you are close. That's what I believe. When you are
Times two of
close, yeah,
everything.
it's like
Not
time.
times two of the gift. You can convert the
Yeah,
gift to the communication
yeah, it's
fee.
times two of a lot of things. Like
Yeah.
because you have to do extra. If you want to do it, that's if you want to do
Mm-hmm.
it. And like we already established, it's not for everybody. So if you know that this is not for you, we're also encouraging you to just find somebody around your environment, your neighbor, your church member.
Also,
Just
be
leave
sure that
them.
it's not for your partner,
Yeah,
you know, because you don't want to, it takes two to tango, right?
yeah.
Be sure that even when it's for you, your partner is on board
On
with
board.
it.
Yeah, it's very, very
And then
important.
self discipline too is
Very
important.
important. And I
It's,
think I'll be rounding up with this. Something came to my mind now. I'm trying running out of the idea. But yeah, try as much as possible to know that it takes two of you to make this thing work. It
yeah.
takes both of you being committed to it. It takes both of you knowing that you want this to work. And as long as both of you put in the effort to make it work, it will be challenging. It will be difficult sometimes. You might feel lonely sometimes. There are
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you want to hear from them and they're not disposed. There are sometimes you want to do some things and they can't help you out. But just understand that since both of you have an understanding of what you want and both of you are working towards it, it's
Mm-hmm.
very important. Then in closing, I want to say this. I don't know how much of the people out there will agree to it or believe it, but then I believe every long distance relationship should have an ending time in view.
Yeah.
An ending time. Like, I know there are some people get into a long distance relationship, and this is what I believe. A long distance relationship is supposed to be going towards this direction,
Mm-hmm.
not towards this direction.
No.
Meaning that both of you, what everything, as long as both of you have agreed to be together in that relationship,
Yeah.
most of the things you are doing should be things that are bringing you towards each other to end that distance, not things that are driving you wide apart.
Yeah.
Because when things drive you wide apart, you don't know how wide you will go and if there
Mm-hmm.
will be a returning point. So, for example, I know this might not be exact, but then, for example, if you know that you want to travel to the US and you want to base in the US because it's how I know that there was a relationship I was supposed to get into sometime in my life that I didn't because I was planning to travel to the US and I had intentions of working in the US, but the person I was trying to see if we can do this wants to stay in Nigeria and build on Nigeria. So you already see that our path is already, even as much as you might care about the person, you feel like you people need each other. You already see that you people are drifting. Like your final destination seems not to be bringing you together. So there's no point. So, but if you're somebody that want to be with somebody, you should ensure that if you people are there, you are trying to find a way to meet each other at a point where the distance ends and it becomes
Yeah.
because you can't do long distance for the rest of your life.
Yeah. And if at any point it's like, okay, you had the opportunity first, try to always bring your partner to your level.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not that, because no matter what, once you leave to another country, there are cultural shocks,
Yeah.
right? So there might be differences in thinking, there might be differences in what they do here and what they do here. And then you say something and it's like, oh, okay, I didn't mean it like that. This is how I
Yeah.
meant what I said. So that's why it's not just communication, it's about effective communication. Make
Communication
sure that what you're saying and what your partner is hearing or listening or interpreting is what you actually meant
meant.
to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's
So,
important.
any final words?
Final words, long distance relationships can work. Just be sure about it. I'm not advising anybody to go for it, but if you want to go for it, just know what you're committing yourself to.
Yeah.
But it can always work. Put God first. Communicate. Communication is key. Um, y- I wish you all the best. I think that's what I would say. Yeah, I just wish you all the best.
Yeah, she's wishing you guys are the best.
Yeah,
So thank you very much, Buki,
thank you.
for I call her mommy Buki. She doesn't like it. But yeah, thank you very much for being here. And I believe that this my amazing audience. They have
Yeah,
heard all you said, they have learned so much from it, and they will go ahead
awesome.
to put it into practice. So,
Yeah,
guys, long distance relationship is possible, but
it
it's not
is.
for the faint hearted. You need to be strong. You need to
Yeah,
be courageous. You need to be sure that you want that person that you want to be with, because that's the only way you can find that commitment we talked about.
mm-hmm.
And you remember that you have to be convinced. That conviction is very important so that you will stay faithful and do what you're supposed to do. And don't go out there and start comparing your partner to somebody else,
Please
because
don't.
it's easy to allow comparison, because that guy that is close to you or that guy that is close to you, they might look like the most precious thing after sliced bread. So be careful and know that you guys already have something working out. And like I said, lastly, ensure that
Hey, one last word.
ensure that you guys are coming closer to each other and not drifting apart each other. Okay?
Yeah, so I wanted to add that like constantly reaffirm your partner.
Good.
So yeah, I don't think anyone will form strong woman as much as I can, but yeah, because at some
You're a
point I
strong
was like,
woman.
why is this I love you now ringing tone every time? I love you. But give yourself time to learn all this process, especially if you are new to things like this, like you're not used to people saying, oh, I love you or this. Give yourself time. You will learn it over time. Don't rush yourself. You learn at your own pace. And then constantly reaffirm your partner, like telling them sweet words. I think no matter what your
Love language.
love language
Everybody
is,
likes sweet
everybody
word.
wants to hear it at some point. You don't have to even make them know that you would. You can just say, hey, babe, I miss you. Just dropping in to say, I miss you, you
Yeah.
know? That's, I think it will go a long way. The person will be like, okay, what's going on? Yeah.
Yeah.
But it helps.
Yeah. So somebody that is strong, a strong woman is talking to you people.
It's true.
A strong man is talking to you. So for some of you that are out there that are strong, that are not opening yourself up to receive the love that is coming to you, I just want to encourage you, even though this is not part of the long distance part, allow yourself to receive the love that is coming to you. Allow yourself to be, especially if you're a woman, allow yourself to be a baby girl so that they will take care of you. So you don't have to, I'm encouraging people, you don't have to be a man. Stop trying to be a man or stop trying to form power. Allow yourself to receive the love, be taken care of. I thought you people say you people are baby girls, you want to be taken care of it. Then allow yourself to receive that love.
Okay.
Allow yourself to experience the true, like I said, enjoy it when it's good. Don't think about if it will go wrong or not. Enjoy the good part of it when you're receiving it. So that, so that when 5 years coming, you still be enjoying the good part of it, because we're not praying that it goes wrong. Yeah. So guys, thank you very much. Thank you, Buki, once again for honoring this invitation. I'm super excited, and I believe that every one of us here have learned so much, and we'll probably put it into practice. I'll be listening to this again, and I know that I'll be learning so much. But for me, I don't know if I'm planning to get into another long distance relationship though.
You'll be fine.
But yeah, we're still figuring it out. We are still figuring out how that part will go. But then, yeah. So you know how we do it, guys. You know where you can catch this on my YouTube channel, Prophet Eneh. Watch on my YouTube channel. You can also watch on my podcast platform. All links will be shared with you guys to watch this. Remember that you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel. Please do so. Hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified next time I upload a video, and also rate this video on other podcast platform, and stay blessed. See you guys in the next video. Bye.